animals getting into the festive spirit there. Thank you, Amy. Now, I'm sure many of you will be having your own New Year's Eve parties at home like me, and you want to create a really nice dinner for family and friends over the holidays. Well, with us now is a lady who knows all about elegance and confidence when it comes to hosting. Please welcome award-winning mentor and coach. You can even tell by her name how sophisticated she is. Taylor Elizabeth Bodrie Perramond. I got through it.
You did.
I said it.
That's amazing. Thank you so much.
You look amazing. And you know what? Every time you come here, I'm always like a little self-conscious because your posture, which is just like so elegant and just, you can just imagining her opening the door and welcoming people.
Oh,
Now,
thank you so much.
now, I need tips. I'm hosting. Everyone out there needs some tips. You're right in time for New Year's Eve celebrations. What is some of the first things that we should be doing when preparing for a big night?
Okay, so thank you. The biggest thing to do is to plan. So get yourself organized. So if there's a way, that, like a plan of the event flow. So we're like an event planner. You're hosting your own event. So know when you want to do things at certain times. Know when you need, how much time you need to prepare for it. Give yourself a little bit more time to make sure that you're ready, because the worst thing is for you not to be ready when your guests arrive. And this being Dubai, and we have so many different cultures, some people will arrive right on time. Some will arrive 10 minutes late, some
Arabs.
will arrive 45 minutes late, and some will arrive 2 hours late. So it's going to be a mix, you know, so it's always good to make sure that you're prepared and ready, and that when people do arrive, that you greet them with like really warmly, and the ambiance is huge when you do
Even
that.
if they were 2 hours late, you greet them warmly? Because I'm like a little sarcastic. There's like a bit of passive aggressive. I mean, I'm sorry, I planned a party, you're showing up 2 hours late?
Yeah. Hopefully,
I was on time last time.
This is actually where I think tact, both not only for the host, but also for the guest. So if the guest shows up and said, I'm so sorry, you know, something happened, blah, 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 and then you say, I totally understand. I'm really sorry. I'm just so happy that you're here. You know, just how you recover from that. Now, if they just show up like waltzing in, like, well, I'm here, the party can start, then maybe you can do it elegantly, but just, you know, express yourself as you would, but elegantly.
Taylor, you mentioned about the actual arrival time, and we're not going to focus on this the entire time you're here, but it is interesting, isn't it? Because say you send an invitation out for a 7 p.m. start. My mother taught me to arrive 10 minutes after the start time,
yes,
because actually being on time is quite stressful for the host.
Yes.
Well, do you agree with those sentiments?
So yes, actually, and thank you for this question, because it is quite cultural. So I lived a long time in Switzerland.
Okay.
And in Switzerland, they arrive right on time.
Okay.
It is actually considered rude otherwise. French culture, English culture, British culture, American culture also.
Okay.
10 minutes late is the norm, yeah?
Okay.
Other cultures, 45 minutes, 1 hour, some even longer, but that's kind of built into it, so it really depends. I would say as the host, if you are the host in that case, give yourself a margin here and make sure that you can entertain your guests in that margin. So for like the 30 minutes, if people are waiting for something to happen, make sure that you have refreshments or cocktails or something, whatever it is you're offering them, juices to keep them entertained. And the biggest thing about being a good host is to make sure people feel welcome and they feel like anything.
And not rushing around grabbing stuff out of the oven last minute.
Exactly.
So,
That's why being prepared, but also introducing your guests and getting them to talk, and do it in a way that's not just like, well, this is so and so and this is so and so. Now you two go at it and figure it out. But you'd like say, this is how I know them. They're really great at this. You know, you two have that in common, and then get them to start talking about things.
Oh yeah, start getting people together. I want to ask you, Taylor, about dress code, because obviously it's a nice event. You've sent out invitations, you've invited people over, but I'm aware that it's still my house.
Yes.
I'm not going to wear a tuxedo. What should I wear? A smoking jacket or something? How should you dress to impress your guests?
I think, again, so when you invite someone to your home, and especially if it's a formal invitation, by formal I don't mean necessarily a card that you send to their home, especially that's not really done anymore, and it's not very green either, right? So more if it's an invitation you sent by WhatsApp, or if you sent it in some other way, to actually state what the dress code is. I think it's so important. I think we have an example of
Yeah,
that.
show off that
the
example
invitation
about us.
is that that you state what the dress code is. And then
Wow.
if you have, the second page of that is actually any additional things, like if there's a schedule about kids, for example, you were talking about the kids, if there are dietary restrictions or whatever. These are giant sized. We don't normally make them this large, but you put the dress code. So if you want to say, like, for example, in your case, you want to just wear a smoking jacket and you want to wear maybe a normal trouser, or you want to wear even jeans even in a smoking jacket, how you want to do it. Then you say, like, you could do casual chic, you could do elegant chic, which are actually not formal dress codes, but then you would want to define that maybe on that second part of it and just say, listen, like, don't come, tuxedos are wonderful, but not necessarily welcome. This is what, I would suggest to be comfortable and elegant, that kind of a thing. You give some context. I think one of the most confusing things when you're invited to something is when you're just not given the information. And I don't think there's too much information you can give. Initially on the invitation, you include some, and then you can always send follow-up when they RSVP.
I've got a question as a host and as the guest, because I feel like I probably break all your rules. But how involved should you allow your guests, or as a guest, how involved should you be in helping the host?
Okay.
So should you step into the kitchen or just offer whatever it is? And also, what's the doggy bag situation? Because I'm not joking, I went to a Christmas party the other day and I showed up with Tupperware. She always has so many leftovers and she's always like, take some with you. So I just took initiative this time. Was that inappropriate?
Okay, so thank you for this question. So about whether you help or not, I think it's always gracious and very tactful to ask. So if you can always ask your host, like, may I help? Is there anything I can do?
when everything's done.
Yeah.
Can I do anything?
Is there anything that I can do? Also, just like, I think always observe. So always be aware, always observe, and then take a side of tact and figure out what's going on. So in this case, like, you know the woman that you went for the Tupperware. Clearly you've been there before. You know her, you know what she's like. She won't be offended that you're taking food away in your own Tupperware, right? Because this is an established relationship.
Food wastage,
Yeah,
right?
food wastage. Yeah, you don't want to do that whatsoever. But I think it's just understanding when you can do that and when you can't do that. Or when you go in somebody's kitchen or when you don't. And I think it's just kind of feeling it out. But if it's a really good friend and you've been doing it forever, or it's a neighbor, and it's custom for you, then it's totally fine.
Dina's just shoveling caviar into her.
And literally, Dina's putting it in
like
her-
never knowing.
Never invite Dina to a party. She'll turn up with like loads of Tupperware.
No. I hate throwing away food.
Oh,
I'm
totally.
like, I'm actually going to eat it, and I've got a bunch of kids and 2 sets of grandparents. Those are going to go into the lunchbox.
Yeah,
Very
no, 100%.
quickly, as you've touched on children, because I know you're going to be sticking around anyway, but I want to get this in. So, Dina has children, but I noticed on one of your invites as well, and it's a common thing that comes around with weddings and such. What if you want to host and you want to invite your friends that have children, but you want to politely say no children?
Yes. Okay, so there's always a way to do it elegantly and tactfully. Exactly. Tact is like the biggest thing. It's one of the hardest things to explain, but it's the biggest thing. If you only want it for adults, usually the time, although we are in Dubai and things are very late, that could set it. But if you really want to say, welcome, let's like an adult evening together. It's a way in which you describe the event. So on that second card, you could definitely do that, where you say, this is the plan. On that card, I believe I went through, like, here's a schedule. First it'll be welcome, aperitif, then it'll be dinner, followed by dancing. Or it's like adult, where it's welcome to this adult-filled like entertainment evening or whatever it is. It's not for kids. The way you state it. And then also you can in the follow-up on the RSVP as well.
Okay.
Usually people will ask if it's not clear, but I think giving them as much information within a tactful way is always important because it just clears things up.
Nice.
Well, Taylor, I've never thought of hosting that kind of party at my house, but now I want to. So I'm very glad that you're here.
Okay.
Please stick around. Taylor will be with us for the rest of the episode. But coming up, organizing events can be fun for some and stressful for others. But luckily, we have some top tips from an expert event planner after the break. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you back here.